Hi guys, James Arrest here from Marketing Secrets for Electricians, and today I'm here with Chris. Hey Chris, how you going?
Doing well, James. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to get to visit with you.
Yeah, for sure. So you're from a quite a large service-based company right now, yes?
Yeah, so I'm with Service Titan. We've got over 1,000 employees, over 4,500 contractors that we serve. So pretty large. And before that, I had my own air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical service business in the big town of Ardmore, Oklahoma, which is a population about 25,000 people.
Okay, cool. And so you've been in this kind of area of service businesses type of thing for, I don't know, quite a few years then.
Yeah, man, it's been my life. Really and truly. I started off like many people do as a technician, and I went to trade school back whenever I was even in high school and was able to get out and go to work for a really good company, a local utility, and they invested heavily in the technical side of my training. So then I made that jump from technician over into the service world. I had, as Michael Gerber with the E-Myth, he calls it the entrepreneurial seizure. So I had it, and that's where it all got started.
No, that's like I've read that book like years ago now, but it's like the book I wanted to read before I got started my own business. So I was like, that's a good base to learn off, and it's quite powerful. But again, it's like we start off in the trade, and when you're on the trade running a business, it's a completely different ball game. So for those that don't know, what is Service Titan? Like, what do they do? Just before we dive into a few questions here.
Yeah, no, great question. So Service Titan, really, it is the operating system for the trades. It is the complete end-to-end platform. We take everything really to the next level. We start with the incoming call by being able to track all the marketing sources, being able to record the calls, all the way through the dispatching process, then on to the mobile side where the technicians leverage this in the field. It's a sales tool. And then even back to the office in the closing the jobs out and doing the follow-up. So really it's start to finish a complete system for running your service business.
Make life easy.
That's it. Yeah, that's the goal. Streamline things so you can concentrate on serving customers and providing really an awesome experience instead of doing all this manual data entry and paperwork and all that stuff we hate anyway, right? So
You can focus on making money basically instead of doing the stuff that needs to be done. Yeah.
and there's a novel thought. How about that? Actually focus on being profitable instead of just busy work, right? No one wants to do that.
Yeah, like the 80-20 rule, yeah? Like, 80% of the work won't bring you in the money. That's at 20% or the other way around, whichever way.
That's I'm with you.
No, cool. So starting off, why do you do what you do?
Great question. Great question. So first, why I'm here at Service Titan, and it's pretty simple. I'm here to make a difference. The trades have been so good to me, my family, even my community, and I've just seen what can happen if somebody starts in a trade and invests in themselves and really tries to perfect the craft and then learns from others on how to grow this business. Man, it can change your life and change many lives.
Yeah.
And I was very blessed to be able to do that and grow a company and then be able to have a successful exit. So now I'm here with Service Titan because they've got such a large platform, and it's really a chance for me to give back to the trades that gave so much to me at scale. So that's why I do what I do. It's truly to make a difference and to serve others.
Cool. That's a bigger purpose than just doing the job, so that's kind of good to see. That's why I like to start with why, because if you have a why, you can do anything. You can plug why into any vehicle, but if you don't have the why, you're kind of like stranded, like, why am I doing this? I don't know. I don't have a reason.
Man, you nailed it. So that is the first thing that we always teach as well. So when you're starting a company, if you don't know why you're doing it or really the purpose behind it, you're not going to become a talent magnet. You're not going to be attracting people. You're not, when things get tough, you're not going to be able to persevere and push through, because
And there
if you're
will be tough times, like no doubt.
every day, right? I mean, yeah, we all feel it every day. So I'm with you. Simon Sinek, has that start with why. That resonated with me so much, because I was doing that before I even knew that was a thing. But then once he defined it, it was like, oh man, yes, this is it.
Yeah, his YouTube video and his book is quite good. I agree. So next, how did you get to this point? So you've got a bit of experience. Do you want to expand on that a bit, share a bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody that knows me, here's this saying that I have. It's go time, right? So it's go time. But the powerful thing about go time is it actually has a meaning, and it is exactly how I got to this point. So if we start with the G in go time, that is starting with goals. Why are you doing this? What do you want to accomplish? Where are we going? So that was the first step, was determine, all right, what do I want to do? So for me in my contracting business, I knew I wanted to build something that was scalable, that we could eventually be able to sell. That was the goal. The O in go time is observe. And that's where you do a phenomenal job of this. This is learning from others, right? It's going out, finding people that have already done what I wanted to do with my goals that I set, and figuring out what they did that worked and what didn't work. So that way I could eliminate the mistakes. I could move forward without having to make all those mistakes myself. And then the T in go time is the secret weapon. It is take massive action. So a lot of contractors, they set a goal, they may go out and learn, but they don't put it to work. So for me, I simply would hear a good idea. I would learn something like from a podcast like this. And if it was proven to work, I did it. I just went and did it. It was go time.
And just on that, I find, especially in today's world, it's so easy to go, okay, there's a bit of information, there's more. And before you know it, you're just like absorbing information, but you're not moving anywhere. You're just in this little loop of like information loop, and you got to take action, learn something, do something.
That, analysis paralysis, right? Yes, that's exactly what happens. You gather all this data and you got all these great ideas, but if you just think about it and you don't take action, it never leads to the second part of how I got here in this whole go time formula. So after you've got goals, you've learned from others, you've taken massive action, now the I is for inspect. This is about having systems in place to inspect the results of the action that you took. So it's measuring, right? We do something, let's measure it. How did we do? So the M on go time is to modify the results of the action. So we measured it. So now what worked, what didn't? Let's do more of what worked. Let's modify our plan and do less of what didn't work, right? And then the E is for engagement. So engage means like what we're doing here. I believe Jim Rohn said, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So think about that for most technicians or most business owners. Who are you spending the most time engaging with? For most people, it may be another technician, or if you're a business owner, it may be your supply house. So if we're going to be the average of the 5 we're engaging with the most, let's raise our bar a little bit. Let's talk to people like James Rest, right? Where we can lift our lid and start to grow. And it's also staying engaged with your team and your customers. So that formula is honestly how I got here. I just followed that diligently.
So on this, did you make that formula up, or did you take different pieces to do it? Did you get inspired by like some people?
Great question. So actually, I was doing this formula before I even really understood what it was, but I was doing it because I was learning from others already. I was blessed. I'd never worked for another retail service business since I'd worked for that utility, that did air conditioning.
Yep.
So what I did is, the first thing I did when I realized that I wanted to go into business is I started seeking out the leaders in the industry. I just thought, you know what, if I don't know anything, why not go and learn from these other people first? So I did that, and then that's whenever I'd always use that word go time anyway. So just kind of hey, let's go do it. Yeah, but then once we started analyzing, hey, what did make this thing successful? That's when me and a couple of key mentors kind of put together the meaning of what go time was and made it something that could be easily conveyed.
And that's kind of what I like to do as well, is like you have an idea or a concept or something, and you discuss it with people, and that, like, round, I talk about it, you talk about it, and we go back and forth, and we come up with something better than either one of us could have done individually, and helps you define a better result, or a goal, or whatever the thing may be. So definitely use that tactic a lot.
Bingo. Yeah, there's power in a group, right?
So yeah, much more powerful than the individual, and that's where some people, I think, if you're not humble enough to accept that you don't know everything, this is a thing that we all, no one can know it's everything. It's impossible. There's so much information nowadays, it's insane. So,
that's right. Yeah.
Cool. So with this go time, that got you, like, you made that up through your company, like,
Yeah.
And then you started with Service Titans, or you, like, where did that fit in? Just trying to get a picture visually.
Yeah. So as I went into business, I started a heating and air conditioning business in a town, like I said, of 25,000 people. So it was a very small area. And I knew that, hey, if I wanted to grow to be a $10 million company, because I knew in basically that $10 million mark is kind of the magic number of when you're really attractive to maybe be acquired, right?
Yep.
So I thought, how in the world am I going to get there in a town that really only has about $2.5 million worth of yearly revenue potential?
It wasn't such a big area.
Yeah. So back to the E-Myth, back to the value of systems and processes, and something that's called the people law. And the people law says, in a nutshell, that every time that you add a person into an intelligent turnkey system, you expand your reach, and you can expand your reach almost indefinitely. So I heard that and I was like, all right, so here's the deal. I created basically a career path for people. So as I brought people into the company, our goal was our vision was to get really good, which is systems and processes, was to develop leaders and duplicate in similar areas. So as I attracted team members in, and we learned the system, we learned the processes, we all were improving. So then I said, hey, instead of losing that person where they may go start their own company, because they, good people rise to the top, right?
I had that a few times. The good ones left and started.
Yeah, that's it. And I saw that problem. So I thought, why don't I offer these people a chance to go to the neighboring city, the neighboring town over that was a similar area, take all of our processes and have all the benefits of being an owner, except for we'll keep all the things that most technicians that turn business owners hate, which is all the marketing, the billing, the insurance, the taxes, the answering the calls. We'll do all that at a central location, and then just let these leaders go and engage in the community and grow their team and serve really well. And we'll reward them, and we'll make this a team. So we did that, and we were able to expand to 5 locations.
Cool.
And then also that's what led us to get into electrical. Being in such a small area, in HVAC, we had over a 46% market share in our small little area. So we were like, okay, what are we going to do now? So adding on additional trades was the natural next fit. So
on that, did you find when you went to someone's house, they were asking you for an electrician?
Yes, and that was the beauty of it. They trusted us as their provider, so then they would ask us for all kinds of things. And it was kind of painful having to refer them off to other people, right? So, but I learned this: electrical, it is a much tougher business than I ever dreamed. So I've got much respect for electrical companies that are very successful. When we started it, we instantly got customers because we already had this market share. So
Yeah.
once we hung the shingle out and said we do electrical, we got the calls. But I realized quickly it's a lot different than running an HVAC company.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
and you may know better than I on this, but a homeowner calls an electrician maybe once every 7 years, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's not like the HVAC world where they're calling us like twice a year,
Yeah. It's
right?
definitely not as regular.
Yeah. So we had to think about that. Okay, if we're only going to be engaging with this customer on a longer time span, how do we serve really well when we're there?
Mhm.
So, and that was really where Service Titan comes in as well. Service Titan, we've been a customer since 2014 in my company, and they are phenomenal at taking checklist, whole home inspections, the repeatable process that we wanted to do, and implementing into the service call and into the sales call. So, for example, an electrician could go to a home, and all of a sudden on his tablet, it's going to trigger that, hey, these questions have to be asked to the homeowner, and we have to check all of these items in the home, because we want to do a complete inspection, not just treat the symptom. We want to provide the solutions for all of it, and
Yeah.
then be able to offer good, better, best, and options to the homeowner. Not really even doing sales. We just wanted to do a really good job as a technician and offer homeowner the solution to take care of their problems that we as a good technician uncovered. So Service Titan really fit well into that. So doing that, we were able to have some success in the electrical side, but much respect, buddy. It's not as easy as most people think.
No, and that's like one thing I'm going to be working on in the future is creating that reoccurring revenue more so for electricians because, like, I don't know, for example, mowing, yeah, you go once a week. So every trade's kind of got its timeline, but there's still, you can still put packages together and different things to kind of entice people to, just use your service. When you go to someone's house, there's always something electrical they could get done, not necessarily want to or need to right now, but they're like, maybe if you have the right deal, the right offer, or just the right person talking to them, it might happen. So
You nailed it, and that's where a system comes in. So a systematic approach to making sure that all the items are checked, and then a visual display of the findings. With either the stoplight buttons, like you do when you get your car's oil changed, they give you the, hey, this had a red, it needed attention, or this is yellow. It's that panel is getting a little bit older, but it's still working. There is some hot spots in there that we probably need to take care of, or the green, everything's good to go. And then
yeah,
being able to showcase that to the homeowner just to make them aware. That's our duty, right?
yeah, it's your like especially if it's like in electrical, if something's dangerous, you're obligated, well, in Australia anyway, by law, to like say this is a thing, and depending upon how dangerous it is, you could get the power turned off. If it's like if someone's life is at risk or potentially at risk, and they won't do anything, you can call like the power authority, and they can come in and turn off their power. So they have to get it fixed.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. That's why I love the trades as well. So people think of the trades and being an electrician, being a heat and air guy, as kind of a blue collar thing, and it is, but man, what we do is so important because, like you just said, we can literally save lives, we can save property. We can, whenever I look at a home, I don't see the home, I see the family that's in there. There's a mom, there's a dad, there's these kids, and they're dependent on my skill set as an electrician or a heat and air guy to help them keep comfortable and save money and be safe. So I love thinking of it like that, and I wish more technicians would grasp that what we do is so important.
The
And
bigger
we,
picture.
yeah, man, I mean, what we're doing is needed, it's important, and we truly can save lives.
And even if, like, okay, if you imagine, like, what would your life be now if you had no power? Like,
Yeah. My son would be freaking out because he can't play his video game, right? So yeah, it'd be pretty miserable.
Exactly. Life will be different. We'll almost go back to caveman style. So yeah, and even with this Corona stuff going on, like everyone's now online, Zoom, like everything's like kind of burst online because you can't have that interaction, and people still want it. So
Yeah.
an electrical service is needed more so now to keep that power on, so you can keep that community connected in a way.
We at Service Titan talked to an electrician that was doing phenomenally well through this COVID situation and crisis, and we asked him like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "Well, think about it." He said, "Everyone's at home now, so therefore they're overloading their electrical stuff. Most of them are not going to eat as much out, so they're buying freezers and things like that, to pack food in and plugging it in, and if the circuit can't handle it, now you got a problem." So they went on the offense, actually marketing this type of stuff, and they've been really busy and didn't miss any through this whole pandemic that we went through.
Taking advantage of the situation, like whatever the situation is, if you can adjust, like you've got the same product, but if you can adjust your marketing to suit the situation, you can, as you said, kill it. So that's pretty clever of them. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I was back to learning from others, right? I got that information. I was like, oh man, this is good. Yeah, how can we pass this along to other contractors?
No, exactly. And that's what, by doing these podcasts and stuff, I love to get bits and pieces from like the conversations we have with people, not just from me, because I'm one person. That's why the interviews are important, because you get a third party, a different perspective, different trades, still related, but different. And then that expands our vision.
And your reach is dang near global, man. So think about that. We get to hear perspectives from many countries, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like, yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your goal? Like what gets you fired up? What's your vision?
Yeah. So right now at Service Titan specifically, like I said, it's all about making a difference. And if I can keep helping, two things, my goal at Service Titan. One is to help contractors, of course. So the other part is Service Titan's got 1,000 people, that are more than 1,000 people now. And these are some of the smartest people I've ever been around. Oh my gosh. I didn't finish college, or anything like that. And I'm working with people that have like, I don't know, I didn't even know they made these kind of degrees, right? I mean, so it's like, wow. But here's the thing, you take someone that's that smart, they've got all this engineering power and this firepower to help contractors. They need the voice of the contractor in there to make sure that what they're producing is exactly what the contractors want and need. So my purpose is really twofold: help contractors and then help the internal team really relate to what our customers need and what they want. And it's kind of, I pinch myself honestly, because I can make a recommendation and then see such a powerful force and team go to work on it and create something that's going to affect thousands of technicians and customers. It's pretty crazy. I'm really loving it.
So the Service Titan is kind of like they're constantly evolving. So they're constantly trying to make the software better, which is a cool thing, because if you're not growing, you're dying. So that's definitely important.
For example, when COVID hit, so we all felt the pain of this change and this transition. Well, can you imagine them? They had 1,000 people that all of a sudden had to go work from home. Bam, there it is. So not only did they disperse the workforce all to work from home, they knew contractors needed help then more than ever, because the game changed. The homeowner experience, it changed. Now we've got all these companies that are working from home, and then we've got customers that they don't want the experience changed. And let me give you a quick example. So I had some people come to my house to do some work. They were putting in some home automation stuff whenever I bought my new home, and the whole service call was awesome. They really did a great job. They protected, they wore the mask, felt comfortable, and it got all the way down to the end of the call, and they handed me their phone. And this is right after the whole COVID thing broke, so everybody was really paranoid, right?
Yep.
And I was supposed to sign for it and do my whole, thing on their phone. And all I could think of was, oh my gosh, let me go like dip my hand in gasoline and hope there's no virus on it, right?
Yeah.
And but what it did is it ruined the whole service experience for me.
That
So
one
when
thing.
that one little thing. So instead of me going out and posting a great review and being a raving fan, all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm not going to infect my family because I just
Mhm.
touched something, that may have virus on it, whatever. So Service Titan recognized that and they put their team to work to create a whole touchless experience. So
Okay.
that way homeowners never had to go through
How does
that.
that work out of curiosity? How do you sign without touching?
Yeah, that's great. So through the power of the software and the program, they can actually send homeowners the recommendations, the estimate, where they can accept right from their own phone.
Okay.
And they
Cool.
can view it, they can see what they want, they can e-sign. So it's never even there's no contact that's ever made right there. So
And
that was one way Service Titan really adapted and went to work fast to help contractors.
and on that though as well, you've kind of like hit the like the customer experience. If you're not getting feedback from your customer, the customers talk. So you're talking now as it was like it was really good, but this one thing, and you're going to talk about that one thing. And if you're not communicating with it, so when you finish the job's not over. There's still a relationship to be had. And if you get that feedback, like you've gotten this feedback and you've made a change, if you don't get the feedback, you can't make the change. You're going to do that to, I guarantee you, more than one customer. Like every customer until this crisis is over is going to be like,
That you nailed it, because guess what? After that call was done that I had with that company,
mm,
nobody asked how my service experience was. They didn't
mm,
even make it easy for me to give them feedback or a review.
mm,
Um, and let's face it, like right now, if you're not gathering reviews, specifically on Google or wherever, you're doing yourself a disservice, because people are going to trust what they're reading from their peers, and we need to be leveraging that. And Service Time makes it very easy to do that as well.
cool. That's like in the online marketing world, it's like if you're like wanting a product, you search around like everywhere there's reviews. Like there's all these different review sites, and there's even review sites that hold you hostage. So you have to sign up and pay the money to answer the reviews. But the point, yeah, everyone, like most people will review a customer. I know I will. I'm going to like, this company, let's see what, have they got shitty reviews and I don't want to use them then. Like,
Yeah,
why am I going
that's
to
right.
go through the risk?
Yeah, no, and consumers now, I think the whole game has changed. I think COVID has really pushed forward a revolution of change in the way that they expect to be treated, and they expect to do business. They want everything on demand. They want it to be very convenient for them, where they can communicate via text, FaceTime, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Because think about crud. If I want groceries now, man, I can go to my phone, order it, probably even track it to the house and see when it's delivered. That's what we can deliver with Service Titan as well. So if you can track your $10 pizza coming to your house, doesn't homeowners deserve to be able to know when the electrician is coming,
And
be
that's a
able to
big issue, yeah. Like just electricians showing up or any trade showing up. There's a whole stigma of like, are they going to show?
that's it. So with Service Titan, we make it very easy. We send appointment reminders. We even have it where the homeowner can confirm that, hey, yeah, we're good to go. I'm going to be here. When they dispatch, a bio gets sent. So not only do they see, hey, you're a skilled electrician coming out, but you also coach little league football and interact in your community. And hey, this is a good guy or a
You
good.
start building a relationship before you get there. That's awesome. It's very clever.
That's it. And then you can track it if you have this enabled, to see the vehicle come into the house. So that way homeowners aren't having to wait around all day wondering when they're going to be there. They can
Yep.
make sure they can watch it and see it in real time. It's pretty awesome.
They're like, oh, you're around the block. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also an accountability thing for the technicians, right? So when you dispatch and know that they can see your route coming to the house, you're less likely to stop off at a convenience store or at a somewhere along the way and waste time on company dollar.
Yeah.
You get to the job and do what you need to do.
And then I don't know, if you have a team, you can see where your team is as well, I guess.
100%. So right on the dispatch board, you can see a map of where all the technicians are. There's even a map of where you do the most business in. So for marketing purposes, you can really zero in like we're killing it in this neighborhood. So maybe we need to amp our marketing up even more, in this area right there. So a lot of powerful tools in there.
Sweet. All right. So what do you have a bad moment? Let's look at the negative then positive. So is there a bad story, worst moment when running your business?
Oh man, golly, I think I could write a book on them, right? I think all of
People
us.
have written books on bad moments. Like it is a thing.
I mean, I got to the point where nothing even surprised me anymore. I mean, it's just like, okay, what's next? But so, I mean, here's a technician example. I got a call one time, and this was early on in business where, if you make a mistake on a piece of equipment and it's a couple $1,000, oh my gosh, that is a huge hit, early on in the business world. People even don't even understand if you damage a $2,000 piece of equipment or $1,000 electrical panel falls out the back of your truck, well, you got to make that up with profit dollars. So if I take $1,000 hit on a mistake, I've got to generate typically about $10,000 in sales to make enough profit, like at a 10% net, to be able to recoup from that. But I remember one time a technician called me and he's like, oh, Chris, you're never going to believe what just happened. I'm like, well, I'm probably not going to be surprised. Go ahead and give it to me. He's like, well, we were cutting some plywood and we cut through the air conditioning unit. And I was like, wait a minute, stop. How do you cut through an air conditioning unit when you're cutting plywood? And he's like, well, we were using it as the sawhorse. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. Classic case here. I get it. But
Yeah.
on a bigger scale, I mean, all of us have probably faced some significant challenges in our businesses. And I remember one time my office manager decided she was going to leave. And whenever I got in there and saw behind the scenes what was going on and what I didn't know as the owner was happening, we had credit cards for months. This was prior to Service Titan. We had credit cards for months that had not been ran, hadn't been charged on all these reoccurring memberships. And oh my goodness, we were just,
It's not good.
yeah, and it was a nightmare. So that was why I love Service Titan. They make the reoccurring payment thing so simple. It's automated, and also the accountability trail that Service Titan leaves from the start to finish. Who does every aspect of everything in the company. So it really eliminates a lot of those pain points. And if you do have a bad story like I did, you can go back and easily track it and figure out who should be held accountable for it.
Accountable, and then also fix it. So put something in place so you don't okay, let's have a rule that you don't do that type of thing again.
Exactly. And that really landed on me as the owner. I should have been more, I should have made sure that there was a systematic way, a checklist, or something to keep things visible about what people were actually doing. And I didn't. I just trusted that they did. And then when they left, oh man, I didn't know how to do these systems. So having things documented, who does what, how do they do it, when do they do it, and have an ongoing checklist of making sure they are doing that is priceless, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a book like Extreme Ownership. Have you heard of that?
I have not read it yet though, but I've heard many people say good things about it.
Yeah, it's quite good. I recommend it. But it's about you as the owner, or he does any business or person, but you as the owner, you take ownership. It's your business. Everything essentially falls on you. Even if the technician done a dumb thing, it's on you because you didn't have the systems in place. You didn't have whatever it was. You made the choice to hire the person. You trained the person. You gave him the tools. You set the job up. It's all on you, even though he made the mistake. And ideally they should take responsibility too. Like everyone takes ownership of the thing, and then you can resolve it and move forward. And yeah, if you keep doing the same thing, there's a saying, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's insanity. So
yeah. The definition, if you keep doing the same thing expecting a different outcome, that's the definition of insanity. Yep.
exactly, that's the one. So now a successful story. So what's like a good story, aha moment that you had through the business or something?
Yeah. So personally, one of the most I felt was one of the most successful because I cared so deeply for my team. But we were named the best contractor to work for in the Southern United States. So, man, that was a huge, huge honor. But it was even more so an honor because the way you get nominated is by your team nominates your company. It's not me going out and brushing on myself. Yeah. And once we were named that, you talk about a powerful recruiting tool. How would you like to come work for the best company to work for in the air conditioning industry in the Southern United States? So that was a huge win for us, and it was a really win because we did care so much for our team, and we invested so much into them. Like I said back in the beginning, the vision was to get really good, develop leaders, and duplicate. So that developing the leaders meant a lot to us and me personally. So that was a big success for us.
Cool. So, and that it comes back to charging accordingly. So you have time to actually train your guys, and you're not stressed out because haven't got enough money to train the guys. And if you're not charging enough, you need there's a lot of people, like I'm in Facebook groups with electricians and they're all joking about prices and all this stuff. But the cheapest guy doesn't win. It may win the job, but not the war. Yeah, you win that job, but you lose out because you can't expand. Only, in my opinion, if you're a solo electrician, you can cut yourself cheap, but you then have less money for you. You have less time for you, and then if you want to expand, you can't because
100%. So I recommend people budgeting for development, and here's the percentage that I recommend. So, and this is all built into your cost of business that has to be built into your pricing, right? But whatever you're spending on marketing, let's say I'm spending 10%. Well, I recommend whatever you spend on marketing, budget half of that as well for training. So if I'm spending 10 on marketing, budget 5% for investing into my team. And here's the reason why. So if your marketing goes up, you better make sure your team is prepared to deliver on what you're trying to promote and get, right? So if you reduce the marketing cost, well, okay, you can reduce your training budget a little bit as well. But that's kind of a good rule of thumb that I used. And it helps you be intentional about developing your team and making sure it's built into your pricing, exactly like you said.
That's something when I was running my business, I had a team, but I didn't have a budget for it. I was just like, okay, we'll learn that thing now.
Yeah.
Definitely. And for the electrician or the technician, it's an important aspect for them to feel like they're growing in your company, because otherwise they're going to go somewhere. Even if you pay them well, if they don't feel growth and contribution are the two biggest motivation factors. You listen to Tony Robbins and some other people, they're the top two. In business, you got to hit them. So how do you hit them? And this, you definitely, as being the boss, and even yourself, I do this to grow. I reach out to people. I do other things because I want to grow personally, because I enjoy these things. When in business though, it's harder if you phones ringing, customers are calling, all these things are happening. You're just So if you can have a system in place that helps you to control those aspects of business, so you control it instead of it controlling you, I think that's a valuable asset to have on your side.
100%, man. So we had a once a month, I would bring all the team from all the locations in, and this was really just a time that we learned. I was able to shower the praise and really celebrate the wins. And I remember sometime someone asked me, they said, "How in the world when you're busy, how can you carve out time to do that? And I said, how can I not? These are the two most important hours of my month, because when the team feels appreciated, when they see what they're doing and is working, the impact we're having with our customers, they're going to go out all the other hours and really give it their best. So how could I not invest that time to build into my team? So exactly back to your point, they want to feel appreciated. They want to feel like they're making a difference. And it's our job as leaders to make sure that's happening.
Exactly. And it comes back to marketing as well, because if your team feel good, they're going to have that influence on the customer, who's then going to become ideally a raving fan. So you can, like, it's this loop, you pass it forward and pay it forward all the way around. It comes back to, you get more work. At the end of the day, your training will result in you getting more work if you take the time to do it in an effective manner. So,
100%, and that's why I recommend budgeting for the marketing and the training at the same level.
no, that's a good tip. I didn't do that before, so that's cool. So almost wrapping it up here, but like last tips or final things you'd like to share, maybe we haven't covered, or anything else you'd like to go over?
Yeah, I mean, really, I'd just like to end it. I mean, pretty much with, I know I'm representing Service Titan now. It's a phenomenal tool for everyone in the trades, and we've got a new podcast out as well called the Toolbox for the Trades. That man, I would love to recommend your podcast to our users, and vice versa if we can. So I believe that we together are stronger together as an industry. So the more that we can collaborate, learn from each other, it's back to what we talked about at the beginning, man, the power in the group. So someone wants to check that out at servicetitan.com /podcast, and it's called Toolbox for the Trades.
Cool. And that's, so the focus of the podcast is like, what's an example? What's the focus?
So this one is all different trades. So we've got HVAC, electrical, plumbing, garage door, whatever it is, interacting with industry experts and top level business owners, and all just collaborating on ways to grow our businesses and get better. So it's not a Service Titan specific podcast. This is more of an industry podcast.
Okay, cool. That's good to hear. It's like, and then, so on this podcast, who would you recommend we like host next? Have you got someone in mind?
Oh man, I got a bunch of people. So I mean, if you want some influence in the United States, buddy, I've got some great people to talk to. I get the pleasure of interacting with contractors from all over, and it is phenomenal the success that I get to see and learn from. So if you want to connect with some people, I can definitely do that. There's one guy in particular be really good for you to connect with. His name's Ben Stark. He was a mentor of mine. He's a serial entrepreneur. He built and sold several businesses, and I learned so much from Ben. And he is heavily invested in training for the trade. So great guy to have on, probably.
Okay, cool. That would be an awesome person to have on the show. Like, like it's a growth process. You know, the more people you talk to, the bigger you get, and the I don't know, more fun it becomes, essentially.
That's it. Yeah.
Cool. And then I suppose you've kind of already covered a bit, like, so more to find out about maybe you more, like if people want to connect with you rather than the podcast and that, like where would they go to find more about you, to Service Titan, or is there someone else or somewhere else?
Yeah. So at servicetitan.com, obviously, if they want to find out anything about Service Titan, but me personally, I'm very active in that Toolbox for the Trades. We have a Facebook group as well.
You host that, or is there someone else talking on that?
So someone else hosted, Jack Yobble. She is phenomenal. She hosts it, but in our Facebook community, I'm in there all the time interacting. So I'd love to connect with people in there. So Toolbox for the Trades on Facebook as well.
Sweet. No, that's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show and sharing what you've got and learning more about Service Titan. It was good to have you, and maybe we'll connect again in the future somewhere else. But yeah, we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.